Hello again, and welcome to the eighth installment of the podcast. In this episode, Amanda Rizzo of 3DMJ, Jason Tremblay, and Vanessa Gale of TSG, and myself discuss women in strength training, and that wound up to be a conversation about the fact that everyone should lift regardless of their age, race, or gender. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you can take something away from it. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the podcast. Jason, this is your second time.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to start off with an introduction of each and every one of you, including you, in case that somebody missed the podcast along with Chad.
Do you want me to lead off?
Yeah, sure.
Take it away. My name is Jason Tremblay. I'm a coach of 9.5 years, and I'm the co-founder of the group The Strength Guys. We're a group that specializes in online training and nutrition services for drug-free powerlifters, athletes, and people just looking to improve their fitness. On the, academic side of things, I have my bachelor's degree in health and physical education. I have a previous certification in personal fitness training from Mount Royal University. I have an awesome team around me, and one of such is Vanessa Gale, so I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. I am Vanessa Gale, and I am now a coach with the Strength Guys as well. I've been powerlifting coaching for about 10 years now through my own, and just came on the Strength Guys at the start of this year. So that's been really exciting and a fun adventure to the powerlifting journey that I've been on. My background is actually in dance. Before I began powerlifting, I have a BA in dance from Marymount Manhattan College, where I danced in New York for 4 to 5 years. And yeah, I just have a really deep passion for movement and movement analysis, and I think I bring that to everything that I do in powerlifting as well. And outside of powerlifting, I'm also a chiropractor. So I have a Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Life University, and I have a private practice here in Marietta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Amanda?
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Rizzo, and I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor in the state of California. I've been practicing for about 4 years now. I'm originally from Florida, and I received most of my training there. However, I have been practicing in a community agency right now, alongside with my private practice. I am also a mental health consultant for 3DMJ. I've been working with them for, I think, 5 years now. And I'm also a co-owner of a sex-positive board game called Love the Yoni.
I got you. Okay. So what we were talking about right before you came in, Amanda, is what we're actually going to talk about in the podcast itself, which is women in strength training, and how do we try to encourage more women to pursue strength training. So I think I'd love to start off with talking a bit about the benefits of it, whether it being health-wise, your mental state, and obviously we can't ignore the aesthetic aspect of it. So let's start off with what you think is more important for you personally, okay? What are your goals in fitness when you started off lifting, and if that changed along your journey? Does anyone want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll start. When I began lifting, it was really like becoming like a second sport for me. Like I was transitioning out of dance. I knew I wasn't going to be dancing my whole life, and I decided like, I need to do something, and I want to do something that's a little bit more objective. And that's something that I really love about powerlifting, is that the weight on the bar is the weight on the bar, and it goes up or it doesn't. So it's something you can really measure, whereas that was a total polarizing thing for me, because coming from dance, everything is very subjective. It's all about aesthetic and lines and technique. And so some of it, like the physicality of it is so different as well too, but the movement and learning how to do something in powerlifting was so easy. It was like such a transition, such an easy transition for me to do because of my ability to move. And so what I loved about it was just that like structure that I feel like I didn't have in training. Like, you know, you can point your toe a certain way, or, you know, but as far as powerlifting goes, it's pretty basic. The squat, the bench, the deadlift, there's nuances here and there. And I've discovered how many nuances there are now with coaching and how everybody's built differently. But I feel like for me, putting on muscle and gaining that amount of stability was such a huge thing. And it was really powerful for me in my own body image. Coming from dance, everyone's super skinny, and I always was a little thicker as a dancer. Like being 130 pounds as a dancer was actually too much. And so in powerlifting, you can be whatever size, and actually the bigger, stronger you are, the better. So it like was a huge boost to my confidence in, you know, leaving the dance world and like entering into like normal life after school. So that's one thing why I was drawn to powerlifting. And for me now, it's something that I do on a regular, like I do because I love it, and I love the community, and I love like the the ever challenge of getting stronger and going through life and having life experiences that set you back and proving that you can get back to where you were. I think that's something that's really powerful about powerlifting, is that strength can come and go, but it always comes back if you're training optimally.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, how about you?
Very nice. Well, for me, I want to say I was drawn to powerlifting after going through treatment for an eating disorder. I was very focused on my body, and I wanted to look a certain way, but obviously the way I was doing it was not effective, and it was compounded with mental health issues as well. But after treatment, I went back into the gym. I was slowly working around the weight room and, you know, testing things out, experimenting. And then I came across Lane Norton, I came across 3DMJ, and that's when I went down the rabbit hole of evidence-based bodybuilding and training and the powerlifting as well. So I would say that significantly helped not just recover and get to like a healthy, stable weight, but it also helped almost in a nurturing way correct some of the issues I had, some of the incorrect beliefs I had around food and around bodybuilding and around powerlifting. Just being comfortable with lifting heavy and not being afraid that I will quote unquote blow up to a certain size or reach unfounded levels of muscularity. Yeah, that just did not happen. And then alongside that, I, like Vanessa said, like I came across like wonderful people. The community is fantastic. And I even played around more recently, just like stepping away from powerlifting. And because I feel like I went all the way to the extreme, like powerlifting is the only way, like that's the only form of fitness. And now I'm just like moving into a more balanced area of like moving my body more in different areas, as well as incorporating strength training. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I want to stray away a bit from the talk about powerlifting. Obviously, all of you are primarily powerlifting, other than what you just said, Amanda. But I think that a lot of benefits are left on the table, whether it being bodybuilding done right, or gymnastics, or even CrossFit, or weightlifting, strongman. anything like that. And I think even a few men can relate to what you said about being afraid to get too bulky or whatever. I know I've had a lot of guys that were approaching me and saying they don't want to get as big as Arnold. I don't know where they got the idea that that's completely possible within 3 weeks. So I want to hear from Jason, right, tying right into that story.
So I think with regards to women's powerlifting, like a big part of my study in health and physical education, which is it was a kinesiology program that was oriented towards really training physical educators. So I think a lot of my classmates will go on to get their education degree and then go into being phys ed teachers. And a big focus of that from the sociology perspective, I think is summarized by, we were just driving out to the mountains, my girlfriend and I last weekend, and she's telling me how the story of their playing netball and how the boys had to shoot from like the real line that you would in the sport, whereas gym teacher growing up would say like the women could shoot from much closer to the net. And I think a big aspect of my degree was telling the physical educators of tomorrow, you've got to be careful about how you're doing this stuff, right? Like if you're continuously giving the girls the easy way to the net or to score a goal or to complete a physical task, like what kind of message are you sending without even trying to send that message, or without maybe even being aware of it? And then there's also the examples of like boys versus girls in dodgeball, and like some people just end up hating dodgeball and physical education class because they dread getting smacked in the face because they always get picked on in the game. And so there's also a focus on stuff like this, and being careful about the messages that you're sending to kids growing up. And from my perspective, my story, and I think with the strength guys, like, I mean, guys is in our name, right? And we later became a coaching group. The strength guys was actually just referring to me and co-founder Anthony Walker when it was just a Twitter page. So it wasn't meant to be a team that was, representing many people from many walks of life, but it became that. And a few years back, I ended up bringing on an athlete, Nicola Pavlukanidi, who holds 2 master's degrees, and her main thing is humanitarianism and community development. And she came to me with this idea of like, the strength guys is a really good coaching product, and this is what Nicola is saying, and but it's all guys, right? Like you never have any female lifters on your social media, and even in your name, it's like it's guys, like it's not gals. Like, can we do something about this? So Nicola has really helped to improve my awareness of the different, I guess, realities and experiences that people have in sports and in professional life. Because looking back on it, Nicola was right. Like our social media was white male dominated, and that's who we were representing, even though we weren't trying to do that. Like it wasn't my intent of saying like I only want to represent white men. So Nicola's like, no, we need to start representing different people and giving people a voice, and that led to the Strength Gals, and that led to us trying to promote and grow women's powerlifting. And so just coming at that from like the perspective of sociology, I think it's quite interesting how through the unconscious biases that people have, how certain groups of people can be ignored or be left out for more opportunity. And one of the things I've noticed in strength and conditioning coaching and powerlifting coaching is, there's a lot of smart and talented women in this sport, but there's not that many coaches, right? And it's the same thing for I think about coaches of color, right? Like you look at who's doing the podcast episodes and all that. Usually it's white men. And that's something that Nicola and I have worked for many years now to just kind of at least correct ourselves and monitor ourselves and be more conscious of our actions in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I wanted to bring up the major issue that I think that is preventing from women and actually a lot of other different populations from participating in strength sports, which is the just terrible information online or just from the biggest bro in the gym approaching them. I wanted to ask you, how do you think that we can try to combat this, and what can people understand that what they're missing out when they're not being a part of this world of strength training, whether it being women, as you said, people of color, even the elderly are very afraid to touch a dumbbell due to the fact that they imagine their body being just so fragile that they can't actually lift the weight.
I think that the people who are in positions of power for educating and influencing the population just have to be mindful of how they're representing themselves and representing others. So don't treat people like they are fragile or less than, because that's not the truth. I think the virtues and values that powerlifting will teach you are discipline and commitment and work ethic and consistency. And, I can't speak for you, Vanessa, and you, Amanda, but I can't speak for the numerous conversations I've had with my girlfriend and Nicola, and gaining strength has empowered them physically and emotionally, and certainly through helping women, I've received many comments to that as well. So I just think it's my perspective on all of it is just being more mindful of the actions and what we're posting.
I believe too, really shedding light on the health benefits, just the facts that, especially elderly, you want to be increasing your bone density, you want to be preventing osteoporosis. I had a client when I was a personal trainer in New York who literally, her doctor did a DEXA scan. She had lost a certain amount of bone density. She was 65 years old, and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing in the weight room. But he told me to work out. He told me to lift weights. And I did a very basic powerlifting program with her. And she put back on half of the bone density that she had lost in a year. And it was from that moment on, I was like, everybody should lift, no matter how old you are, what sex you are, you should lift because it's good for your health.
Yeah,
Not
actually,
only that,
go ahead.
doctor.
Yeah, I think that doctor did a great service, because I know that there are doctors out here, I don't know if that's the case in the States or in Canada, that don't prescribe strength training as a modality to improve health. They just tell them to go swimming or something like that, but the weight room was never in their mind. Go ahead, Amanda. I'm sorry that I cut you off.
Sure. No, it's okay. I just wanted to add on to that, just along with the health benefits. Of course, there are mental health benefits that come along with strength training for both men and women. The community that one can build within the strength community is incredible. I've met some of the most incredible people in my life through the powerlifting community. I would say just the process of seeing tangible results when one follows like a very structured and effective powerlifting program. Just the feedback loop of your self-efficacy and seeing yourself improve and seeing the physical changes. That's just like, it's huge positive reinforcement for someone, and especially a woman who previously feared putting on too much muscle, and seeing that, oh, it's not as quickly as I thought, and it's not in the form that I thought it would be. That's a lot of positive reinforcement.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to my next question, and I think I want to hear from you, Amanda, first, since this is sort of your area of expertise, is whether or not you think that social biases have a big part in it, especially for people who are considering strength training, but that cognitive dissonance of what is expected of them and between what they actually want is kind of in the way.
Mm-hmm. That cognitive dissonance will certainly get in the way. We're constantly bombarded by social media, by even messages that we receive culturally, messages that we receive through our parents about how our body should look. And what do we do with that information, along with how we want to feel ourselves? How do we want to see ourselves? How do we want to feel in our body? How do we want to feel when we move? So in order to block off or just like disconnect that tie that we have with that toxic environment, we need to really focus inward and be mindful, connect with ourselves, connect with our bodies, and be honest. Like, I want to do this. Ask yourself if you want to do this for yourself, and who are you doing this for? What is the goal? What is the purpose of this? And how do I feel throughout it? That's a very important aspect. Like, are you enjoying this? That would be the whole point of it. If you're not enjoying something, why are you doing it? And that could go positively for powerlifting, and negatively. You need to ask yourself, am I doing this for the right reasons? And am I enjoying the process throughout it? And so if you're a woman and you're kind of curious about the weightlifting room, ask around, ask people in the gym, ask people that you see at the front desk. Do as much research as you can. And I think the best therapy is just gradual exposure therapy. Jason, you were talking about people who represent the powerlifting community. In regards to women, like, seek out those women, talk to them, ask them what their process was, and gradually introduce yourself to the gym. Maybe you don't full on go through a whole powerlifting program, but you play around with the dumbbells, or you play around with the barbell, with safety precautions, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add on to that, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as, I mean, she covered it really well there, but right, it's like you can't be doing something that isn't fun for you. You know, if you're doing this because you're trying to prove something or impress somebody else, and you're not trying to prove something to yourself, you're not trying to impress yourself, then what are you doing? You know, it's like and that goes for everything, not just powerlifting. Like, that's a life lesson right there. And we just do it through powerlifting. Like, we learn a lot of our lessons through powerlifting. And, you know, for me, I have felt that way. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, well, I've been doing this so long. I have to keep doing it? Or, like, you know, like when I had my baby, I was like a little bit torn up because I'm going to have to step away for a bit. But then I just reconnected to, like, what's most important to me right now in this moment. And powerlifting is always going to be there, and I can come back to it if I so choose, and I don't have to if I don't want to either, you know. And it's one of those things, like, it's a sport, it's a hobby. Some people get to make it their life and their livelihood, and that's a huge blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Jason?
also the connectivity that Vanessa and Amanda have both mentioned is a really good thing, because so when I was in my early 20s, I backpacked around the world, and missing working out while I was doing that, I made an effort to find gyms along the way. And what was really interesting was seeing the differences in how people trained, like men and women, right? And also just like walking around and seeing like what the billboards look like for like men and women's fashion, right? And like see the kind of differences that there are in terms of, you know, beauty and elegance and all these things, right? That the fashion companies and the makeup companies and all that are putting out. And I think with social media now, it's, you know, it's globalizing everyone's voice, and it's connecting people to others across the world. They're, you know, North Americans, South Americans, or North Americans to Africans, and all over the place, right? And we can connect better than we ever have before. So it's getting that out there that more and more women, especially in the powerlifting community, are getting really, really strong, right? And in that process, they're showing like, you know, a lot of women can be stronger than the boys, right? Like that stuff happens. I've had to get used to coaching some lifters who can, you know, kick my butt in a powerlifting meet right now, and they're women. So, you know, it's getting used to that stuff, and just exposing more and more people to it. So I think that's a really good thing about what's happening right now.
I think Steffi Cohen is a great example to what you just said.
She's very
that she is. And what do you think, how do we go about people who still hate the process that they're in, but they're doing it not because they're enjoying it, but because they think they have to, because of health concerns or anything like that, or somebody told them that this is what they have to do to get their goal, and creating sort of a toxic relationship. For example, what you said about the bodybuilding experience you had at first, Amanda.
Yes, and this is something that I've worked with clients as well, just to kind of release that resistance around only training a certain way and having to only train that way. I think even within the bodybuilding and powerlifting field, there's this inherent belief that you can't do cardio, like it's gonna ruin all your gains, it's gonna impede recovery. And I think a lot of evidence has come out and a lot of research has come out to support cardio. It supports lifting as well. So I help clients release that trepidation of even just going for a walk, or even, you know, swimming with their family. A part of that, again, is exposure therapy, and also reminding them, having them identify various things as to why they first started lifting in the first place. Why are they doing it now? What do they want to do in the future? Most of the time, they do not want to continue tracking their food for the rest of their lives, or having to do like a very strict 5 days a week of training. Most people don't train to compete. They just train for overall health benefits, to feel good, they enjoy it, it's a hobby. So again, going through that whole list of questions and having them be mindful, connect more with their body, allows them to explore a bit more the various options that are available.
Jason, do you want to add anything on to that?
No, that was well said. I don't have anything now.
All right. So Vanessa, or I'll just jump.
Yeah, just like the best sort of general physical workouts you can do are the kind that are like play. You know, I like to say, like, if you're not if you need a break from powerlifting or you need a break from the gym, like go for a hike, go for a bike ride, go paddle boarding, go try something new you've never done that's physical. And like, it totally resets your mind and your body, you know, and it gets you ready to come back to whatever regimen you were on, if that's what you choose to go back to.
Mm-hmm. And I want to bring us to sort of the other end of the spectrum, to the competitive level. And Vanessa, I want to hear from you as someone who competed in powerlifting, if you think that more women should get involved in the competitive, on the competitive level, and why.
Absolutely. I mean, since I've been in the sport, like when I started, I would do meets and I was like one of maybe, 5. And now I go to meets and, I'm like one of 70 in my weight class alone, so it's like the sport has grown huge over here in America for sure. And it's fun, and that makes it more fun, and that makes it more exciting when there's more competition. And, people always fear like doing a competition before they're strong enough. And one thing I've also found in powerlifting is that no matter what weight is on the bar, everybody in that room wants you to get it, even your competition, because your competition wants to beat you because they're stronger. They don't want to beat you because you missed. And that's always been like why I love competing in powerlifting, and why I think it's like so much fun, even for novices, to just do a meet, like get one under your belt and then see if you liked it. And like, it gives you a goal to train for as well. It gives you like a time stamp to like be preparing for, which makes coaching a little bit more fun too, when you have like a reason to train and like a time and a deadline to meet.
I also think that competing, regardless of who you are, and every athlete does have their differences, like learning to navigate setbacks, whether that's mental motivation or maybe you've gained life responsibilities after you've graduated university, and now you're trying to figure out like, man, I have to train after 9-10 hours at work and my brain's fried, and finding a way to do that, and really growing yourself mentally and physically. Competing has presented so many different challenges to each of my clients on my roster, and I think that everyone in some way, shape, or form, if they approach this from the place where they do want to compete, right? Like they're not being forced to or feeling like they have to. I think there are so many lessons that can be learned from that process. So, and that's one of the reasons why I love coaching. Like I've got 35 to 40 clients now, and every one of my clients have been on a different journey with each of them, right? They've all had their own things happen to them. And on meet day, when I'm lucky enough to be there, because I am an online coach, so I can't go to every competition as much as I would like to. It's so awesome to share that experience with them, because it's the culmination of a lot of hours of their work and also of my work, and a lot of their mental energy as well, and all those things that they learned along the ways, and like hopefully you can put together a performance on meet day that's something that we're both proud of, and that's my favorite part of coaching. So I think men and women and old and young, like everyone can benefit from these things.
Amanda?
What was the question again?
Whether or not you think that more women, or as Jason put it, more people should be drawn towards the competitive level.
I think as long as you're going to have fun. That's my take on it. As long as it's going to be an enjoyable process for you, by all means, do it. If you think it's an obligation, or if it's something that you must do. It's something that you need to do to be initiated into the community, I would steer away from it. Yeah, as long as you're having fun and you're enjoying the process, it's going to be a great experience for you, whether or not you win the competition.
Mm-hmm. All right. And how do you think that we should approach trying to encourage more women to get into strength training and subsequently better their health? As well as I wanted to ask, what do you think that they should expect coming into this journey?
You want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
I can tell you what my approach has been. We've made a dedicated effort to putting more women in positions of leadership, and that's been our approach. So whether that's, you know, having Vanessa on staff, like previously we were all a bunch of guys, right? And Vanessa is a top echelon coach who truly belongs with our team. But giving her the voice within our team and the position of leadership as a female coach within our team. And then also, I could speak to the work that Nicola has done for her master's thesis in Zimbabwe, where I mentioned this earlier, like, you know, people are treated differently in different parts of the world, right? Like different cultures or even different regions within a country, like everything can change. And the relationship between men and women in different countries changes all over the place. But in Zimbabwe, a big focus of it, we have a not-for-profit organization called Lift for Life, which strives to set up gyms and provide lifting equipment by employing the local economy in impoverished areas on the outside of the capital of Zimbabwe, which is Harare. And an even more specific focus of that is teaching women that they can, you know, be active and strengthen themselves. And one of my clients, Audrey Spangwa, who Nicola and John Downing have known for years, she's now like the leader of Zimbabwe powerlifting, whether that's official or not. Like, I think when a lot of people think of Zimbabwe powerlifting, they think of the work that Audrey is doing in that community. And I think that could be really inspirational to people to see what she's doing, because yeah, like she's overcome a lot in her life, and she was the first ever Zimbabwean to win a gold at a continental championship too, where she took gold in bench press. So she's also achieved, and she's leading by example. So those are the people that I like to follow.
Mm-hmm. Amanda?
Only to second that, find people that represent the powerlifting world, especially females. One of the very first few people that I gravitated towards was first Dana Lynn Bailey. This was before I ever knew anything about bodybuilding and powerlifting. And then it was Andrea Valdez, one of the 3DMJ coaches. And she was pretty much a catalyst for me to just dive into it and just not be afraid of it, not be afraid of quote unquote blowing up. And having those positive relationships, positive associations helped me to just explore and feel free to do it, not feel scared.
Mm-hmm. And Vanessa?
Yeah, more exposure to women on whether it's social media or, you know, just through local like gyms, like reach out to women who are training and ask them to like share their story. Ask them if it's okay if you send other women their way to ask them questions, because you don't know how many times I've gotten just DMs over the years, just like, hey, how'd you get started powerlifting? Like, why do you do it? I've been looking into it and somebody said I shouldn't because I'm a woman and I don't want to get big. And like, it's like, to me, I was like, what? Like, why would somebody say that? You know, I'm like shocked by that, but I know it's a reality for so many people. You know, anyone's welcome to reach out to me all the time about that. I'm always willing to tell my story and to inspire women to train, because it is an important thing for, you know, if somebody wants to be doing that, to empower themselves and to feel stronger, and that they should be able to. And also make space in your gym or any gym that you know, have access to. Make space that is safe. Like, make sure that women feel safe and welcome there. You know, like sometimes, like I've been in gyms where I didn't feel welcome, but it's also America, so I know I can be there. And I'm like, not, you know, I also have a personality like, get the fuck out, you know, like I'm gonna be here if I want to, like, but I know a lot of, you know, people struggle with that, and like as long as there's like safety in that space, and like they know they can be there and they're going to be supported in their endeavors, that's what I would recommend providing.
Mm-hmm. And I want to get back to the second part of the same question again, is what they can expect coming into this. And I want to share my own story, and since I'm not a woman, sort of my girlfriend's story as well, that sort of looks kind of the same. I started off much like you, Amanda, with a very weird relationship with strength training and very obsessive with my looks. And as soon as I found out about powerlifting, I sort of fell in love with just getting stronger and improving and seeing everything manifest much more profoundly and without being that superficial. And just to tie into that, about a story from today, I was training my girlfriend, and she was so excited after the training session. She asked me, when do I think that she could front squat 80 kilos or deadlift 100 kilos? And I think that that's where the mentality shifts, is you just gain confidence. When you learn to ask the right questions, you start finding the correct people, and I wouldn't say correct answers, but the answers you were looking for to actually start off with this journey. Vanessa?
I like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure. Amanda,
Okay.
just
I
take it
like
away.
what you said. I like what you said, that you'll find the answers that you're looking for. Because for me, it was a journey. When I first started, I didn't find the quote unquote correct or right answers, but it was kind of what I needed and what I accepted at the moment. And then it gradually blossomed into the evidence-based arena. It's a lot of exposure, a lot of just like self-reassurance that yes, you can do it. I have the self-efficacy to do it. And then seeing the rewards. I'm also training my girlfriend as well, and she has zero experience with powerlifting, and she was mildly afraid of entering the gym because it was very intimidating for her. And we've slowly just done exposure therapy. I've guided her through some workouts, just, you know, small weights at first, and she's slowly feeling more comfortable and feeling better in the gym. And she wants to continue progressing. She wants to continue going. So expect good results, expect feeling good, feeling comfortable, feeling more confident, and enjoying it. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, other expectations, you know, if their fear is getting big or whatever, or like growing, you know, I recommend people who are worried about that, like stay away from your scale for like 6 months. Like stay away from your scale if that's like a mental thing for you, because your body composition is going to change so much. You might actually gain a little bit of weight or just stay the same, but your clothes might fit differently. You know, like your body is going to change in a way that feels healthier. And then you know, when you feel ready, you can get on a scale and surprise yourself, like, oh, I didn't gain any weight, or I didn't lose any weight either. You know, it's like, oh, look what happened. My body got stronger and I feel better about myself mentally, physically, emotionally even. And nothing about the weight changed. You know, that's the beauty of it, you know, when people are really concerned about that. And I know that a lot of women are. And it's a great tool for someone like Amanda was saying, like somebody with like eating disorder. You know, it's like, it's going to change your entire body image to get stronger and have a different relationship with nutrition. And because you're training, you're going to be eating to fuel yourself versus eating or not eating to change your image.
I think building off of Vanessa's point, it's similar to what the PE coach would do, right? Like girls can shoot from close to the net, boys have to shoot from further back. Like coaches have to be mindful of their coaching methods and practices, because you're not you're working with people, and you know, if you're telling someone who has traumatic experiences or a toxic relationship in a certain area that of nutrition or body image, hey, I want you to weigh yourself every day, and I want you to send in photos every week, and I want you to track your nutrition to the gram every day, and you're setting that expectation. Like, you know, what are you really doing there that's positive, right? Like you're only, in my opinion, you're adding fuel to the fire of it. So one of the most refreshing things I've learned in recent years is when we brought on our former intern, Kedrick Kwan. He's now a PhD candidate in weight management, and he's doing that under Eric Helms in Auckland. And Kedrick is now our chief nutrition coach. Like he's a CISSN, Certified International Sport Nutritionist. He's got his master's in it. He's educated. His approach to coaching nutrition is very much like homework and behaviors based. Like it's a lot of, for him, it's just a lot of communicating with the person and talking to them and, you know, helping them. And I think even in the NHL, like with the Calgary Flames professional hockey team, like one of the biggest revelations for us was we had a young defenseman by the name of Rasmus Anderson. And when he was in the American Hockey League, which is like the affiliate of the National Hockey League, because he's just a young player at that time, a young professional, the assistant strength coach and my good friend Alan Selby actually like would take him to the grocery store. They would go together, and like part of the nutrition coaching was like, this is what you can look for. Like these are the kind of things that like you can do with these ingredients. And you know, Rasmus had the drive after that, and he completely transformed his body. And now he just got $4.5 million a season for the next 3 years. Really got himself together and reached his potential through that transformation. So I think coaches really just have to be mindful of their methods, right? Even if you don't mean for telling someone to track things to the gram, they're the ones who have to live with your decision to coach them that way. And it could have good effects or it could have bad effects.
Mm-hmm. I want to build off of something that Vanessa said earlier about the scale and surprising yourself. I think that you don't even have to worry if you do gain a couple of pounds. As you said, you are going to feel your body changing. You are going to see those changes in the mirror. And if you're completely fine with it, what does it matter if you weigh a couple of pounds more? Usually when I have a client that is telling me that they've gained weight and I'm just going, the scale doesn't measure sexy. It just measures how much gravity is pulling you towards the center of the earth. It doesn't really tell you anything about your body composition. And with that in mind, I wanted to get your closing thoughts around what we talked about. I think that the main thing we can take away is really to reach out to evidence-based people and try to encourage curiosity within yourself. And as Jason said, I think that it's very important for coaches to really be mindful of what they're saying, whether it being about nutrition. Back here in Israel, it's also kind of frowned upon for coaches to guide their trainees with nutrition and everything because of that exact reason. Unfortunately, it doesn't always play out as planned, and people do get eating disorders from people who aren't educated enough on the subject giving advices. And that's at least that's my 2 cents around our conversation.
I think also like my first mentor and national team coach in powerlifting was Susie Hartwick-Gary. And I think giving equal opportunity when for positions of power and positions of leadership is really important. Because like Susie is top notch. She's one of the best coaches we've ever seen. And she gave me such a good exposure to like the highest level of powerlifting, and I'm like forever grateful for that. So make sure that we're giving these people opportunities, and that's something that I've tried to become more and more aware of myself as an employer, is that I'm providing these opportunities also. So that's just another takeaway I would add in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in a society where women are taught to be less, powerlifting is a sport that teaches you it's okay to be more and put more on the bar and be more in everything that you do. Those are my closing thoughts.
Oh, I love that. Be more and take up room, because you deserve a voice. You deserve to take up space. And powerlifting is not going to make you ginormous. It's just going to give you more of your voice, and your body will adjust to that as well. And you'll just be fully aligned and fully congruent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for joining me for this conversation. And if you guys want to talk about any upcoming projects that you guys have or gals have, or just anything that we should be on the lookout for from the content that you provide.
Vanessa, you can lead the way.
Well, I'm taking on powerlifting clients through the Strength Guys right now. I'm really excited to be on that team, and all the work that we're doing together on our weekly calls has been exciting, and I'm just really looking forward to great nationals this year, if we have one. I'm very much hoping we still have it, because it's going to be an amazing time for me to have like more athletes there than ever before. Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Amanda?
For myself, I take clients through 3DMJ or through my private practice, so you don't have to be an athlete with 3DMJ to receive therapeutic services with me. I am continuing to release content through 3DMJ. And if you feel that you need any support in regards to mental health, and it does not need to be like something really drastic, or you don't need to have any sort of diagnosis. If you just want to improve yourself, if you want to achieve a goal, therapy is still for you. And in regards to my side project of Love the Yoni, which I said in the beginning of this, we're in the process of manufacturing the board game, so you can be on the lookout. You can receive updates through my social media.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
For me, like obviously we're a big coaching group, so we are accepting clients. And if you are interested, you can just visit thestrengthguys.com and go to our coaching section. But the things I'd like to highlight right now, most important to me, are I'm mentoring two excellent young coaches. One is Christine Track, who is a master's of kinesiology student from the University of Calgary. And the other is Aaron Edgley, who is he's an interesting combination. He's a former powerlifter, he's an ultra marathon runner, and I think he's going for like 2,000 pull-ups in 24 hours or something. He's also a pull-up artist. So he really has the extreme ends of the spectrum occupied, but I've been really happy to do that and to share those mentoring experiences with Vanessa and Alfred, my colleagues as well, who have been helping out. And then recently, Strength Guys just donated, so for any athlete who signs up, we donate a portion of their athlete fees to our Coaching for a Cause program, which is just something that allows us to help out something that's going on around the world. So typically, we put that money towards Lift for Life, and one of the things that our money was recently used for was to provide 100 girls with menstrual health kits in Zimbabwe, because that's something that they previously didn't have. So I was happy to do that and just try to contribute how we can. So.
Mm-hmm. I love that the fact that you've taken the time to talk more about your interns and the thing that you do for others more than anything else.
Yeah, mentorship is it's how we grow and how we become our best. And the one thing I've been taught from every mentor that I've had is when you have the opportunity, if you do, like, please pay it forward. So I'm just trying to do that right now, and it feels great to pay it forward to people who I think are really deserving and who are going to do great things with the knowledge and the experience that we're giving them. So yeah, it's something that it's one of the highlights of my week for sure.
Okay, so I want to thank you guys again, or guys and gals again, for joining me here, and thank you for your time, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.